Good morning. I'm Zoning Administrator Sherry Meads, and I'd like to call to order the November 3rd, 2022 Zoning Administrator Public Meeting at 10:30 on the dot. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E and the recommendation of the Sonoma County Health Officer, the Zoning Administrator will be facilitating this meeting via Zoom. Members of the public can participate virtually at www.zoom.us/join, or by calling in toll free at 877-853-5257 and using meeting ID number 810-2676-6899. Members of the public can provide comments during the public comment periods. Additional information related to meeting participation is available at www.srcity.org/zoning admin. The meeting is also being live streamed on YouTube at www.youtube.com/City of Santa Rosa. So we're now going to open a public comment period for non-agenda items. This is an opportunity to address matters within the purview of the zoning administrator that are not on today's agenda. Public comment will also be accepted after each agenda item. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to speak, and Recording Secretary Burr will provide instructions on how to make a comment.
If you wish to make a public comment, please raise your hand by pressing the raise your hand icon at the bottom of the screen. If you're calling in, please press *9.
Great, thank you. So item 3, oh, no, I'm going to close public comment. There wasn't any. Item 3 on the agenda is zoning administrator business, which includes the zoning administrator statement of purpose. The zoning administrator is appointed by the Planning and Economic Development Director and has the authority to conduct public meetings and hearings and to take action on applications for minor discretionary projects. A determination or decision by the zoning administrator may be appealed to the Design Review Board, the Cultural Heritage Board, Planning Commission, or City Council as applicable to the decision. There are no zoning administrator reports or consent items today, so I'm going to skip to item 5 on the agenda, which is our regularly scheduled items. Our first item is a minor conditional use permit for a personal services restricted land use with associated retail at 525 4th Street, Suite B. Project file is CUP 22-051, and the presenting planner is Christian Candelaria. Take it away, Christian.
Hi, Zoning Administrator Meads.
Good morning.
Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can you see this? Okay, thank you. So I'm presenting today for the Tattoo Haven. This is for a minor conditional use permit for CUP 22-051, and this is for a personal restricted services use. This is at 525 4th Street, Suite B. So as I said before, this is for a minor conditional use permit, and this is a request for a tattoo shop located in the downtown station area. They're proposed to do 5 tattoo artists at maximum, and they'll be doing an hours of operation from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. There will also be an accessory retail use to sell merchandise related to the business and aftercare products. This will be by appointment only with limited to no walk-ins. The zoning for this site is core mixed use in the downtown station area, which is CMU-DSA, and the general plan is core mixed use. The star indicates where this project site is located. I have some photos for this site since it's a little bit different. This is located on the 2nd story, and I put the red square where you can see where it is located. And then all the arrows point to where you can access. This is on 4th Street, which is where the top right and the top left photos indicate. And then the top left shows where you can enter from on 5th Street, where the parking lot is located behind the building. Here is the general floor plan of the 2nd level. This shows you all the suites that are located there and some of the entrances, and then they're located on the right where the star is, where it used to be located, is a spa. There are required findings for this site, and here are the ones specifically. I wanted to address that the fifth one is more specific towards personal restricted uses. And so I'm going to go a little more in depth for some of the findings there. This project site is located in CMU DSA, and it's in the downtown station area specific plan. This specific plan removed minimum parking requirements for all downtown developments in the downtown station area. And the project site is located in the areas within a 5-minute walk of city-owned parking facilities located in the downtown station area specific plan. Customers are also advised to park in the 5th Street lot, which is on the list of the city-owned parking facilities. There are also additional conditions of approval placed for this use, such as a no loading policy, and permitting is needed. Permitting is necessary from the County Environmental Health Department. This is not easily visible from the public right-of-way, and it is located on the 2nd floor in the existing commercial plaza. There will also only be 5 artists working at maximum and will be by appointment only with limited walk-ins. And let me move on to the next slide. This project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and qualifies for a Class 1 categorical exemption under CEQA guidelines 15301, and that the project is located with an existing structure involving a minor interior modification to an existing structure that will not result in significant impacts. At this time, I have not received any public comment, and there are no unresolved issues after staff review. It is recommended by the Planning and Economic Development Department that the zoning administrator approve a minor conditional use permit to allow the operation of Tattoo Haven at 525 4th Street B. And if you have any questions, my information is listed here. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Candelaria. Is the applicant planning a presentation?
No,
or-
the applicant does not have a presentation.
Okay, well, this is for me a very straightforward approval. But first I'm going to open public comment and see if anybody has something that will sway my opinion. So I apologize. I should have done that first. So I'd like to open public opinion or public comment for this item. If anybody has any comments, Lonnie, our Secretary Burr, will provide information on how to do that.
If you wish to make a public comment, please raise your hand by selecting the raise your hand icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you're calling in, please press *9. Zoning Administrator Meads, it doesn't look like any hands are raised at this time.
Okay, and I will explain why I was so quick to jump to an approval. A lot of time.
Sorry. It looks like we do have a hand raised.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Ramon Romero, I'm going to send you a prompt to unmute yourself, and can you please state your name for the record?
Hello, Ramon Romero. Are you able to hear me?
Now we can. At first it sounded like you started and then we lost you, but we can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Ramon Romero. And unfortunately, I don't feel that this type of business is a good fit for basically a suburban residential neighborhood close to a school and lots of residential homes. So I'm not in favor of this proposal.
Did you have anything more you wanted to add, or does that conclude your comment?
Yeah, I moved here from San Francisco in 2020. And if I wanted to be close to these types of businesses, I would have stayed in a more high density urban area. And again, I'm against this proposal, and it's not a good fit for safety, quality of life issues for the community that's already here. And that concludes my my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment, Mr. Romero. And I will say that I will be approving this project. And I feel that sometimes there is a real negative connotation with tattoo parlors. And And I feel that this is the work of
So-
artists.
Zoning administrator Meads, sorry to interrupt.
I
Did you
need
want to close?
public comment?
Yeah.
Yes. Public comment is now closed. Boop. And not to, negate what you're saying, Mr. Romano, but I believe hopefully the no loitering policy would take away any issues that could be related to things that sometimes people associate with these types of uses. I know many people with beautiful artwork that has been done in tattoo studios. So I'm hoping this doesn't prove to be an issue. There are lots of things in the code that protect you against nuisance behaviors. And should there ever arise an issue that you feel that this use is not living up to the conditions of approval, you can get in contact with our code enforcement department, and I would strongly encourage you to do so. It's not in the owner's best interest to allow any type of nuisance behaviors. So I'm going to trust that this owner is going to operate an excellent art studio, and the fact that it is mostly by appointment, I think also will reduce foot traffic or anything that might be of concern to neighbors. So I do appreciate your comment, and I strongly encourage you to let code enforcement know if there are any issues, which I'm not expecting. So I will be approving this project. Please note this action is final unless an appeal is filed with our city clerks, with the department within 10 calendar days of today's decision, which would be Monday, November 14th, 2022. So if anybody wants to appeal this decision, this approval, they would reach out to Christian or Mr. Candelaria, who provided his information. If you want to flash that back up on the screen for a minute, maybe, so that if anybody wants to write that down so that they can get in touch with you. Thank you so much. Great, thanks, Mr. Candelaria, I appreciate that. So now we're going to move on to item 5.2, which is a minor conditional use permit for a mobile food vending use at 1400 Farmers Lane. City file number is CUP 22-043, and the presenting planner is once again Mr. Christian Candelaria.
Sorry, it wouldn't let me. Let me do this again. Okay, can you see this now?
Looks great, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is for El Rincón de Michoacán. This is for a mobile food vendor, and it's CUP 22-043. This is located at 1400 Farmers Lane. This is a proposal for one new mobile food vendor, and there is listed to be no on-site dining with takeout only. The hours are from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week. The current location is a gas station, which is the Valero located there. And this is a mobile food vendor next to the mobile food vendor is to park adjacent to the parking spaces along the planter strip, which I will show in this photo and later on in the presentation. And there's a bathroom for employees located on site at the Valero gas station. This location has 3 ingress and egress points on the property. This is for the zoning and general plan as well as location. The star shows where it is located in this area. You can see it's right off of Highway 12. And the zoning for this is actually a planned development, and it is PD 0034. And this is also general plan retail and business services. This is the supporting plans for the project. You can see they have 4 dedicated parking spaces, and the photo shows directly where this will be located as well, right next to it. Here are additional photos for the site. As I said, this is right off of Highway 12. The top right photo, yes. This shows all the different angles from the different streets. The top right photo is the back area located on Townview Lane. And then the others are Farmers Lane and Hohen Frontage Road. You can see in the top left photo, some of the planter area will be kind of covering where you can see it from the public right of way. There are standard condition approvals for this site. This will be the location of the mobile food vendor. They'll be covering trash and recycling and composting containers, and there'll be instructions and that will be bilingual. They're not allowed to have any amplified music to promote unless they have a special event permit, and they must follow the noise levels from the city nodes requirements. And there are several other ones listed. And then there's also a full list of conditions listed on the resolution. This project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and qualifies for Class 1 and Class 4 categorical exemptions under CEQA guidelines 15301 and 15304. And that's in that the mobile food vendor will use existing facilities involving negligible or no expansion, and it is a minor temporary use of land having negligible or no permanent effects on the environment. It is recommended by the Planning and Economic Development Department that the zoning administrator approve the minor conditional use permit to allow the operation of a mobile food vendor at 1400 Farmers Lane, and is also subject to the condition approvals listed in the attached resolution. And if you have any questions, my information is listed here. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Candelaria. Does the applicant have a presentation or want to add any comments?
No, they do not have anything to present, but they are available for questions if necessary.
Excellent. Well, let's go ahead and open the public comment period for this item. Recording Secretary Burr, if you could let everybody know how they can participate if they would like.
If you wish to make a public comment, please raise your hand by selecting the raise your hand icon at the bottom of your screen. If you're calling in, please press *9.
Thank you.
Zoning Administrator Meads, there are no hands raised at this time.
Okay, I don't have any additional questions. You did a great presentation. You covered everything. I would like to close the public comment period since no one has any public comments. Thank you for the reminder. It's been a few weeks since I've done one of these and I've lost my magic. I'll get it back. So public comment is now closed. I would like to say thank you to Mr. Candelaria for covering all the questions I had related to parking and how visible it would be. I'm very in favor of this project. I think it's a great location for people to swing by and pick up some delicious food on the way home. It's very convenient, and we don't have the opportunity to see a lot of mobile food vending on the eastern side of the town. So I will definitely be checking it out and picking up food on the way home. So I will be approving this project. That said, please note that this action is subject to appeal. If a person is opposed to the approval of this project, they can reach out to Mr. Candelaria within 10 calendar days of today's decision. So that would be Monday, November 14th, 2022. Thank you. So now we are going to move on to item number 5.3, which is another minor conditional use permit to allow a vehicle storage facility at 0 Coors Court. File number is CUP 22-012, and the presenting planner is Susie Murray.
Good morning, Zoning Administrator Meads. The project before you, hold on, let me get my screen up. I don't know why this is always such a challenge for me.
You're not the only one.
So I'm hoping you can see it now.
Beautiful.
Yay. So the project before you is for the Mercedes-Benz of Santa Rosa. It's for a vehicle storage facility. It's located at 0 Coors Court, which I am made aware that the 0 addresses are applied to uses such as parking lots or vehicle storage facilities. The project is proposing to pave an unpaved area and provide approximately 90 vehicle spaces. It's a parcel that's about 1.1 acres in size, and it's a minor conditional use permit before you this morning. This is an aerial view of what the parcel. It doesn't really look like this right now. I just drove by a couple of days ago. It's more dead grasses and whatnot right now. Looks like somebody was in there playing with some vehicles when this picture was taken. And just to give you an idea of the neighborhood context, the subject parcel is highlighted in blue in the middle of the screen. To the north, it's commercial uses. To the south, commercial uses. To the west, it's zoned for industrial uses, but nothing appears to be there right now. And vehicle sales, also known as Auto Row, off to the east. The general plan land use designation at the site is light industry, and the zoning is consistent with light industrial. Here again is a picture of the site plan to the left, and then there will be some landscaping, quite a bit of landscaping actually, with the plant palette shown on the right. There are 6 required findings for conditional use permits, whether they're minor or major, and all findings have been met as shown on the draft resolution. We'll pull the attention to the final finding for the California Environmental Quality Act. The project was found to be consistent with a streamlining measure pursuant to section 15-183. And this says that if it's consistent with the general plan and a specific plan for which environmental impact report were certified by council, that no further environmental review is required. They did do a biological assessment and whatnot, and this determination is pretty solid. They actually did a consistency report for both the Sebastopol or Roseland area and Sebastopol Road specific plan and that EIR, and the general plan, both of which had the EIRs verified or certified by council. So we received no public comment, and there is one unresolved issue. Actually, I have to say that I heard from engineering earlier this week, and they would like to add to an existing condition on the Exhibit A. And it's condition number 2, which currently reads, the applicant shall dedicate a 7-foot public utility easement, or PUE, behind the right-of-way line along the project frontage on Wilgen Court. They'd like to keep that language and add to it additional PUEs, or public utility easements, and dedications may be required and shall be determined during the building permit review process. The applicant has accepted that condition, and I'm memorializing it here. With that, it is recommended by the Planning and Economic Development Department that the zoning administrator approve this minor conditional use permit to allow the construction of a vehicle storage facility at Zero Coors Court, assessor's parcel number 043-134-047. And for people who are calling in that may have interest, my name is Susie Murray, and my telephone number is 707-543-4348, and you are welcome to give me a call if you have any questions pertaining to this project. And that concludes my presentation. The applicant representative is here, and the engineer is here, and they don't have a presentation but are available for questions.
Excellent. That's great. Let's go ahead and open up public comment for this item. If Recording Secretary Burr could once again provide those prompt informations, I'd appreciate it. Recording Secretary Burke, we don't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Can you guys see my screen?
yes.
Okay.
Looks perfect.
So if you wish to make a public comment, please raise your hand by selecting the raised hand icon. If you're calling in, you can press *9. I do see that the applicant has his hand raised. And then I see a hand raised from Jerry Reed. Jerry, I'm going to give you a prompt to unmute yourself. And can you please state your name for the record?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Jerry Reed, and I'm part owner and general manager of Smothers European and Mercedes-Benz of Santa Rosa. We also, our corporate name is Smothers and White Inc. Smothers and White Inc. is a 40-year-old business in Santa Rosa, doing business as, like I said, Smothers European Volvo Cars and Mercedes-Benz of Santa Rosa. We purchased Zero Coors Court on March 11th, 2019, with the intention to build a temporary gravel parking lot.
Sorry, apologies. Jerry, are you part of the applicant team?
I'm the owner.
Okay. We're only taking comments from the public right now.
Oh, I'm
Since
sorry.
you're-
Okay. No.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay. Anyone from the public not on the applicant team that would like to make a comment? Okay. Zoning Administrator Meads, I don't see any other hands raised.
So since we didn't have this as part of like an applicant presentation, let's go ahead and consider this still public comment and allow Mr. Reed to continue.
No, that's about all I have to say. I just want to introduce myself in case there's any questions during the hearing. Again, we purchased Zero Court on March 11th, 2019, with the intention of building a temporary gravel parking lot. The 1.1 acre site is unimproved dirt lot surrounded by existing curb and gutters in city streets, as well documented in the presentation. The lot is adjacent to our Mercedes-Benz Service Center at 2880 Talmadge Drive, just to the east, as pointed out. And this will serve as a vehicle storage lot adjacent to that facility to help with the business at that location. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Reed. Recording Secretary Burr, it looks like Mr. Bonos, I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly, has his hand up as well.
Yes, applicant Bonus, I gave you permissions to speak and it looks like you're unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, can we go ahead and restart the clock?
Yes.
Thank you, Recording Secretary Burr.
Zoning Administrator,
Sorry, give me a minute here.
okay.
Mr. Bonos, do you think you're going to talk more than 3 minutes?
No,
Then let's not even, oh, you got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Recording Secretary Burr.
can I start?
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say that I appreciate the work that Susie Murray and the engineering staff contributed on this project, and that we are all in agreement on the project resolution and conditions that have been requested by the city staff and the most recent modification of those conditions. As Jerry said, that the project is located adjacent to their existing Mercedes dealership campus. And this project would be an efficient and economic operation that would adjacent to the auto sales and service facility. And it will allow Smothers European to be competitive with the industry-wide move to electric vehicles. So after saying that, I would say that we agree with moving forward with this, and we're looking forward to completing the project, starting the project's review process and building permit review. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bonos. And that was a little awkward because usually we don't time the comments of the applicant team, but since we missed that window in the applicant presentation, I thought, well, what the heck, we'll do it just in case.
Okay, thank you.
So anyways, are there any other public comments?
I don't see any other hands raised at this time.
Excellent. Well, let's go ahead and close public comment then. So thank you for the great presentation. Thank you to both the owner and the applicant for further elaborating on the project and how it fits so nicely with the existing operation. And that is definitely something the city encourages, the expansion of business. We love to see it. We love to hear it. I like hearing that you mentioned electric vehicles. I will look forward to seeing that showing up at your sales office as soon as you can get them there. I do have a question about the biological assessment that was done. You guys did a great job mitigating for the seasonal wetlands and the plants that were a potential issue. I noticed that there was comment about the potential for ground nesting birds on the site. And for some of our tree permits, we have a standard condition. I'm wondering if Susie could maybe propose a condition that would be somewhat in line with that, but that would also address the ground nesting birds.
Can, because I
Excellent.
wrote those conditions for our tree permit. So
Exactly.
the period of concern is nesting season, which is commonly, people assume it's between February 1st and August 31st, although I will say that, Mother Nature is moving that a little bit. But right now, that's still how we're conditioning things. And I can just put a really generic condition here that if ground disturbing activities occur between February 1st and August 31st, a qualified professional, such as a bird biologist or certified arborist with the proper training, should perform an inspection or survey of nearby trees and ground level shrubs and whatnot as appropriate.
That sounds perfect. And then if you could throw in the bat condition too. I like that one. I think since we are disturbing an area that has been vacant, let's just cover all bases with the wildlife and make sure that we take care of them as we expand our footprint.
I think it's wise. We keep both the bird and the bat language, on most of our tree removal permits and a lot of other development projects. Bats are also protected. So let me see. There's an option here, and I'm gonna ask the applicant to weigh in on this.
Please.
The options are having a qualified professional assess any open cavities in trees or places that bats may be nesting. There's an alternative to that, is two-step process, and I don't know how appropriate this is because there are no structures and no trees on the property, and there are no trees being removed. So really, the only trees that are close by in the southwest corner are on a neighboring site. They look like eucalyptus trees to me, but I'm not. That's not my forte. So, but again, there's nothing being proposed for those trees. But if
Susie,
there were,
actually, you know what? Since those trees you are correct. They're not within the property. Let's just forget the bats. Not forget the bats, but not worry about that condition, because really it would be on the other property owner. It would be strange to have to say, we expect somebody to be able to get on that property. So I do want to say that I really appreciate all of the landscaping that you do have planned around the cement parking lot. I think that that's going to actually, help the area. It'll help provide some habitat for some of our native species. So I do appreciate that. And if the applicant and owner are approving of the additional bird related condition, I will be approving the resolution with the bird condition and the modified engineering condition, if that's agreeable.
Yeah, I'd like, if we can give Mr. Bonas the permissions to speak here. Yeah, his hand just went up.
Excellent.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. We have a biologist that's working with us, has been working with us over the past 2 years doing the biological assessment. And part of his work is to be on site during construction and training the construction workers for any biological impacts. And that is going to be built into the project, like I said, construction and process. And I believe that's a condition of Fish and Game. And I think that we are we'll be following up on all those conditions that you mentioned. Regarding the bats, I know like you said, there are no trees on the property. The property is totally vacant of any major vegetation other than grass. So I don't. If you could repeat those conditions that you mentioned, and we could weigh in on that again, considering what you're saying.
So it sounds like you're covered. The only condition that I was leaving in, we decided to not include anything about the bats, since the trees that I was envisioning are not actually on your property.
Correct.
So we're not going to worry about the bats, but Susie was going to incorporate the rather standard condition we have about having a biologist, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, on site, but it sounds like you already have that as a condition, so it should be agreeable. But let's let Susie weigh in.
Yeah, that's a condition of another agency, which is not included on ours. I have no doubt that they will be doing it, but at the same time, it's not going to be harmful to add the tree condition or the bird, the bird survey in. They're going to have a qualified biologist on site to do that.
Correct.
But it won't add any additional work if you want to add that on to this approval. Again.
Exactly. Yeah, I would like to add it to the approval. And what I meant by you're covered is it sounds like you were already planning to do it. So hopefully it's not any additional burden.
Okay.
And do I need to read that condition? Do you know?
No, I don't think so. But like I said, that is a condition that we're obliged to take. I don't see if there's any. There's no redundant. It's a bit redundant, but I would say you're covered. If you want to cover it, that's fine.
That's what happens when you have multiple government agencies. So.
Okay.
The good thing is you were already planning for it, it sounds like. So
yeah, we are planning for it. No problem.
Excellent. Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
So Ms. Murray, I'll be happy to sign that resolution when you get that all worded up for me, and we'll get that taken care of. Thank you so much to the applicant team and to Planner Murray. Please note that this approval is final unless an appeal is filed with the department, aka Susie, within 10 calendar days of today's decision, which would be Monday, November 14th, 2022.
And I would like to add that if anybody would like to appeal that decision, that they should send that request to planning@srcity.org, because I will be out of the office all of next week on vacation. So thank you.
Thank you again. Excellent. Well, our last scheduled item, number 5.4, is another minor conditional use permit to allow for the expansion of a light manufacturing facility at 1435 North Dutton. File number is CUP 22-041, and our presenting planner is Ms. Sheila Wolski.
Good morning, Zoning Administrator Meads. I'm going
Good morning.
to share my screen. Let me know if you can see it.
Looks great. Thank you.
Okay, let me shift some things around my desktop. Okay, great. The item before you is a minor conditional use permit application for expansion of a light manufacturing company, ITT BIW, to occupy the space at 1435 North Dutton Avenue. ITT BIW currently operates with a minor conditional use permit at 1425 North Dutton Avenue. They also operate the same light manufacturing use at 1415 North Dutton Avenue, both of which are located in the Santa Rosa Business Park. These locations are not adjacent, and with this application, the applicants propose to vacate the space at 1415 North Dutton and occupy the adjacent space at 1435 North Dutton in order to operate more efficiently. A conditional use permit is required to establish a light manufacturing use adjacent to a residential zoning district, and that's why we're here today. This location is adjacent to residential uses on Erdley Avenue. And here are the project highlights. They would be adding approximately 5,000 square feet of tenant space to their operations, which include the manufacture of rubber components for electrical conductors. Hours of operations would be 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. Parking is 20 spaces reserved and 20 spaces which are shared among the other business park tenants. There would be a maximum of 22 employees per shift. This slide depicts the location of the proposed expansion in the Santa Rosa Business Park with the zoning designation overlay applied of Business Park North Station area, and the general plan land use designation is core mixed use. To the right here is an aerial view of the property, and here are the residential uses to the west. These slides show how the business park interacts with the residential neighborhood to the west, which is separated from the business park by Erdley Avenue, 15 and 20 foot landscape setbacks, and the back wall of the business park. There are multiple entrances to the business park, including at least 2 on North Dutton Avenue, and this one, which depicts an entrance on Jennings Avenue. And this is the building we're talking about. Back here is Erdley Avenue. The floor plan on this slide shows the 2 adjacent suites, 1425 where they currently operate and 1435 where the expansion is proposed. The city's zoning code requires the following 6 findings be made. All of these findings have been made with respect to the proposed project. The use is anticipated in a business park zoning district and is consistent with the general plan. There are similar uses in this business park, and all changes to the tenant space are internal to the existing space. This project has been reviewed for compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and qualifies for a Class 1 categorical exemption under CEQA Guidelines 15301, and that this project is located within an existing structure involving minor interior modifications that will not result in significant impacts. There are no unresolved issues after staff review, and no public comment has been received after neighbors were notified within 600 feet of this project site. So it is recommended by the Planning and Economic Development Department that the zoning administrator approve a minor conditional use permit to allow the expansion of ITT BIW at 1435 North Dutton Avenue. That concludes my presentation. Here's my contact information. For anyone calling in, my name is Sheila Walski. My phone number is 707-543-4705. Email is swolski@srcity.org. I'm here for any questions, and I believe the operators, John Dutil and Rob Condren, are here as well. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Wolski. Does the applicant want to provide any comments, or do they have a presentation before we open up the public comment period? And it's not it's not obligatory. It's just if you would like to.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Very good. My name's John Dutil. I'm the general manager of ITT BIW, and just a few comments in case any of our neighbors are listening in. BIW has been operating along adjacent to Erdley Avenue for 44 years now. This current project is probably semantics, but in fact is not an expansion. It's a small contraction actually of our operations here. And as Planner Wolski pointed out, it's actually just a consolidation of some space. It's the same operation we've always run there for the last 16 years in building 1425, the same equipment. And I don't believe little to no noise emanates from our operations. It's a lot of handwork and that sort of a thing. So the operation that we're vacating was 15 yards to the east of where we're moving in. So I don't believe there's any impact to any of our neighbors at all with this move. So I just wanted to kind of share those thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that clarification. I was going to ask a very similar question, so I appreciate that you got ahead of me there. Excellent job.
Good.
Okay, let's go ahead and open the public comment period, and our excellent recording secretary, Ms. Burr, will tell you how to participate.
If you wish to make a public comment, please raise your hand by selecting the raise your hand icon. If you are calling in, please dial *9. And it looks like we have 2 hands raised. Ramon Romero, I'm going to send you a prompt, and if you could please state your name for the record.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Ramon Romero. Apologies. This is not related to the current project, but I missed the agenda at the beginning of the call. And I just wanted to ask if the project on 5761 Mountain Hawk is being discussed today, or was it discussed earlier?
It is not being discussed today. It has been elevated to the Planning Commission, and it will be renoticed as such by the project planner.
Thank you. And again, I'd like the record to show or reflect that I was misinformed in my previous comments regarding the tattoo parlor project were meant for this 5761 Mountain Hawk project. So will you please let the applicant of the tattoo parlor know that my statements didn't apply to that project, and I'd like the record to reflect my my error, please.
Well, thank you for clarifying that, and I will pass that on to the planner if he is no longer on the call. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, Kevin Jernigan, I'm going to send you a prompt. If you could please state your name for the record.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Hi, sorry, I struggled with the unmute. We hear you loud and clear, Mr. Jernigan. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, my name is Kevin Jernigan. I am a neighbor on Erdley Street across the street from, or Erdley Avenue, excuse me. I want to go on the record that I have found these guys to be great neighbors. I haven't had any complaints so far. And I'm somewhat reassured that this is not an expansion. I guess part of my question would be about parking. If, they're adding employees, to increase operations, is there adequate, parking available without, encroaching upon residential parking zones? And also just to make sure that Things like sound and noise abatement is considered in this. Are we satisfied that there will be no change in noise pollution, air pollution, things of this sort? I'm fairly satisfied by the explanation that was provided by the owner earlier. It sounds like it's not really a substantive change in their operations, but I just want to make sure we're clear on that. So that's kind of my comment. It's just those would be the concerns that I would have, and it sounds like it's okay. But anyway, assurances on that point would be gratefully appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Jernigan. I appreciate that.
Zoning Administrator Meads, it doesn't look like we have any more hands raised at this time.
Okay, let's go ahead and close the public comment period on this item. So I am going to ask then, excuse me, the parking, it appears to me from what I am understanding from the presentation and from the applicant, there's no expansion of business. You're actually moving from one area to another area that's smaller. So let's verify that. Let's verify that parking won't be impacted, that there aren't going to be if there are additional employees, which would be great, that there is adequate parking for them. And if you could talk a little bit more about how you guys contain the noise to the building, and if this process generates any type of air emissions that a neighbor would be concerned about. Please. I think you're free to speak, Mr. Dutel.
Very good.
Mhm.
Kevin, thanks for your comments. I certainly appreciate them. No, as far as additional employees and all, this move does not trigger any additional employees. Perhaps the opposite, as we talked about, we can gain efficiencies here. So perhaps break even if we grow a little bit in our business. So there's no material increase in employees at all. With regards to the parking, therefore there is no impact to our parking. And just for Kevin's peace of mind, there's a shared parking area in the middle, in between all these buildings, that probably on averages has a solid 15 plus. That's not an analysis I did of empty spaces on any given day. So there's plenty of excess parking. So it will not drive any parking and work. It's stripping wire and things of that nature. We do have a couple of presses in there. They're not loud at all, but I think there's like maybe 3 electric presses in there, but the majority of the operation in this new space is handwork, so it won't contribute to any elevated noises that we emanate from the building. And those presses, frankly, are quiet. When you're outside, you really don't hear anything. At least I don't, but I haven't done it.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Dutel, and correct me if I'm wrong, your original conditional use permit for your base business, if you will, was a 24-hour operation, and this is modified to not be 24 hours. Is that correct?
Well, we used to run 3 shifts a number of years ago, and we don't anticipate running a 3rd shift. When we do, there's generally staffed with like 4 people, and they go in the building and they don't come out. There's not interactions in and out of the building or anything like that. But should we down the road, I suppose, want to add a 3rd shift in there, we would come back to the Planning Commission for that additional shift. It's not anticipated. That's why we didn't put it in there.
Great. Thank you for that clarification.
And I was asking Rob about any emissions or anything. Obviously, we're compliant with all the air quality boards, and we file all of our paperwork. And we've actually got some awards for the work we've done there in the past. And I am unfamiliar with any unique emissions coming out of it. Like I say, we have a couple of these presses. They have heated platens on them, and we probably have some fans to get to move the heat out, but I'm not aware of any toxics or anything like that.
Okay, great. And then to clarify again, all of the construction is interior construction, correct?
Yeah, it was simply dropping some power lines down, hooking on some Cat5 cable for our internet. And in dropping the power down, we had to put some transformers into the existing service. It was just a few items like that. So not very, very minor.
No big trucks or anything that would disturb the neighborhood.
No. No.
Okay. Great. Well, I think you've answered all of my questions. I'm hopeful that the neighborhood remains peaceful and quiet, and we do have a noise ordinance so that if, you know, the neighbors do find that there are any issues, which it sounds like you guys are good neighbors, and I don't think there will be, but there's always the opportunity to follow up with the code enforcement department, who handle things like excessive noise. So please know that that is something that if you find to be a problem, you can follow up with our code enforcement department. But I'm hopeful, and I'm not anticipating that to be any issue whatsoever. So I will be approving this project. I'm hopeful that you do continue to grow and expand, and that things turn out well for your company. It sounds like you've been here a long time, and we do appreciate that. So this action is final unless an appeal is filed with the planning department. And Ms. Wolski, I'm assuming you're not going to be gone next week. Is that correct? You'll be around? Excellent. So anyone can
Yes.
reach out to Planner Wolski, or just to the planning department in general, to file any type of appeal that you might have. Note that that appeal would need to be received within 10 calendar days of today's decision. So that would be Monday, August 29th, 2022. So I want to thank everybody, the applicant and Ms. Wolski. That was a great way to final out today's zoning administrator meeting. Today's business has been concluded, and this meeting of the zoning administrator is now adjourned. Thank you so much, everyone.